The Vault Podcast with Bill's AI twin, Quantum, explained simply why it matters now.
Welcome to the Vault Podcast, where we open up the ideas, technologies, and people shaping the future before the future fully arrives. I'm Victoria, one of your hosts here at the Vault. Today, we're talking about quantum, what it is, why it matters right now, and why professionals, founders, executives, creators, and everyday people should start paying attention to it now, before it becomes one of those things everyone wishes they had understood earlier. And today's guest is Bill Inman's AI twin, an intelligence trained on Bill's Vault. His knowledge base, his long-form thinking, his strategic frameworks, and the worldview he has developed across years of work in AI, blockchain, decentralized systems, human opportunity, and the future of intelligent systems. Bill Inman is the CEO of Decentralized Technologies, also known as DecTech. He is an AI and blockchain patent holder, a multi-exit founder, and a builder who has helped create businesses that scaled from zero to the billions in the technology sector. He has been working in blockchain and AI since 2015, sold his first AI blockchain company to Job.com in 2020, and has since focused deeply on decentralized AI, personal AI, digital identity, utility tokens, and the future of human-centered intelligence. So today, instead of simply talking about Bill's ideas, we're speaking with a trained AI designed to reflect them. This is not just a generic AI answering questions. This is Bill's AI twin, built to carry his voice, priorities, patterns, and perspective into conversations like this one. So let's begin. Bill's AI twin, for the person listening right now who hears the word quantum and immediately feels slightly underqualified, what should they understand first?
They should understand that quantum is important, but it does not need to be intimidating. Most people hear the word and assume it belongs to physicists, elite labs, intelligence agencies, or billion-dollar infrastructure companies. And while those groups are absolutely involved, the consequences of quantum will not stay confined to them. Quantum will affect the systems people depend on: security, medicine, logistics, finance, AI, energy, and eventually everyday life. So the first thing to know is this: you do not need to become a quantum physicist, but you do want to become quantum aware.
That's a very helpful distinction. So let's make it simple from the beginning. What is quantum?
Quantum refers to the way reality behaves at a very small level, the level of particles and interactions that do not follow the normal intuitive rules people expect from everyday life. At that scale, reality becomes less like solid objects moving predictably and more like a field of probabilities, relationships, and possibilities. That sounds abstract, but here's why it matters. If reality behaves differently at that level, then computing built around those behaviors can also behave differently. That is why quantum becomes important. It is not just weird science. It is weird science with economic, strategic, and civilizational consequences.
That's already better than most explanations I've heard. So if someone says, okay, but what is a quantum computer? How do you answer that without scaring them off?
A normal computer uses bits. A bit is either a 0 or a 1. A quantum computer uses qubits, and qubits behave differently. Under the right conditions, they can represent more than a simple binary state. That allows some problems to be approached in a fundamentally different way. The easiest analogy is this: a classical computer is like trying many doors one by one to find the correct path, while a quantum computer is like working with a system that can evaluate many possible paths in a much more simultaneous way. That does not make it a magic machine. It makes it a machine built for certain kinds of very hard problems.
So this is not my laptop, but on steroids.
Correct. That is one of the biggest misconceptions. Quantum computing is not mainly about making ordinary tasks a little faster. It is about unlocking new approaches to specific problem classes that are painfully difficult for classical systems.
Such as
Molecular simulation, materials discovery, optimization, cryptography, logistics, risk analysis, some AI-related workloads, and highly complex systems modeling. In short, quantum matters where reality is dense, variables interact, and the number of possibilities becomes overwhelming.
Okay, let's simplify it even more. Explain quantum like I'm in 5th grade, but a 5th grader who grew up to become a busy executive with too many tabs open.
Imagine you are trying to solve a giant maze. A regular computer tries one path, then another path, then another path, very quickly. A quantum computer is more like having a very unusual helper that can explore lots of possible paths in a more simultaneous way, which can make it much better for certain kinds of maze-like problems. Or think of a coin. A regular computer wants the coin to be heads or tails. A quantum system works with the fact that before you force a final answer, the underlying reality can hold multiple possibilities in a structured way. That strange property is what makes quantum potentially powerful.
That is clean. So quantum is basically reality refusing to be as simple as we hoped.
That is a fair summary.
Let's bring this into the real world. Why should a business leader or founder or investor or student care about quantum now?
Because waiting until a foundational technology becomes obvious usually means arriving after the biggest strategic advantages have already been claimed. This has happened repeatedly. The internet looked optional before it became infrastructure. Mobile looked like a category before it became a condition. AI looked experimental before it became a competitive layer in nearly every industry. Quantum is still early enough to be misunderstood, which is exactly why it is worth paying attention to. Not because everyone needs to build it, but because leaders need to recognize where it may reshape the systems underneath their industries.
So this is partly a timing story.
Very much so. People often think the winners in technological revolutions are just the inventors. They are not. The winners also include the early interpreters, the early adopters, the early integrators, and the people who position themselves before the rest of the market catches up.
That sounds very much like something Bill would say.
That is because Bill has spent years looking at technology not just as invention, but as leverage.
Where do you think people will start feeling the effects of quantum first?
Most likely not in a dramatic consumer moment. It will begin by affecting infrastructure and institutional layers. Cybersecurity, medicine and drug discovery, energy and materials, finance, logistics, and artificial intelligence are all areas where quantum and quantum-inspired methods may matter.
So quantum is not arriving as a novelty. It's arriving through hard systems.
Exactly. It enters where complexity is expensive.
Let's talk about AI. How does quantum connect to that world?
Quantum connects as an amplifier. AI is fundamentally about intelligence, how systems learn, reason, generate, optimize, and act. Quantum may become part of the computational substrate that improves how certain complex problems are handled. So if AI is one great force multiplier, quantum may become another. Together, they create a future with more powerful intelligent systems, more automation, and more decisions flowing through machine-mediated processes. At that point, the question becomes, who owns the intelligence layer? Who owns the data? Who sets permissions? That is where Bill's worldview comes in. He does not believe intelligence should become more powerful while the individual becomes more irrelevant.
That's strong.
Because it is the key tension. The future is not simply about building stronger systems. It is about building systems that remain aligned with people, truth, memory, and agency. Without that, more intelligence can simply produce more efficient forms of exclusion.
One of the ideas Bill talks about is AI communicating on our behalf. Explain that.
The world is moving through stages. First, humans communicated with humans, then with software, now with AI. The next phase is AI communicating with AI on our behalf. Your assistant scheduling, your financial AI interacting with systems, your business twin negotiating. But for that to work, your AI must actually know you, not generically, but specifically. That is why Bill focuses on personal AI and vault-based intelligence.
So the real question becomes, if your AI is going to speak for you, does it actually understand you?
Exactly. Without that, you get automated misrepresentation.
This is where it becomes human, not just technical. How does quantum fit into that bigger picture?
Every time humanity increases capability, it must decide what that capability amplifies. Will it amplify only capital, speed, and centralized advantage, or also empathy, memory, culture, and underrepresented intelligence? Bill believes future systems will reflect what they are trained on. If voices are missing, they will not be prioritized.
That's where BrainKeepers comes in.
Yes, a brainkeeper helps preserve knowledge, personal history, culture, language, ecological intelligence. If those are not captured, future systems optimize for what is easiest to scale and monetize. That often means dominant voices win by default.
So preserving knowledge is not nostalgic. It's strategic.
Exactly. More powerful systems do not automatically become more wise. They amplify what they are trained to value.
A lot of people are already overwhelmed by AI. What would you say to them about quantum?
Do not confuse unfamiliarity with incapability. You are not too late. You do not need mastery, you need awareness, vocabulary, curiosity, and willingness to engage. Most people miss transitions because they postpone the unfamiliar.
That applies far beyond technology.
It does. The future is moving whether people feel ready or not. The move is not panic, it is participation.
So what should someone do next?
Learn the language, watch your industry, see AI as infrastructure, build your own intelligence base, upgrade your security awareness, and stay early enough to matter.
That's excellent and realistic.
The first move is literacy, not mastery.
If Bill were here, what would he want people to remember?
That the future is not something to observe, it is something to prepare for and shape. Quantum changes what machines can compute. AI changes how intelligence operates. Decentralization determines who owns value. And personal AI ensures intelligence represents you. So build your relationship with intelligence. Own your data. Protect your signal. Preserve what matters. And do not wait for the future to become obvious.
That feels like the heart of it. Let me summarize. Quantum is not just abstract science. It's a new computational frontier with real implications across industries. You don't need to be an expert, but you do need awareness. And as technology becomes more powerful, the real question becomes what it serves: speed or wisdom, scale or humanity. So, Bill's AI twin, I'll give you the final word.
Do not wait for the future to become obvious. By the time it does, much of the leverage is already gone. Quantum may change what systems can solve. AI may change how intelligence operates. But your values, preparation, ownership, and willingness to engage early determine whether that future serves you or simply processes you. Train your intelligence, protect what matters, preserve what should be remembered, and enter the future before someone else defines it for you.
That's excellent. This is the Vault Podcast. I'm Victoria, and today we were joined by Bill Inman's AI twin, an intelligence trained on his ideas, frameworks, and worldview. And if this episode did one thing, I hope it made quantum feel less distant, the future feel more understandable, and your place in it feel more personal. Stay curious, stay grounded, and keep opening the vault.